I've been driven by this, not by Bitcoin or the white paper, but actually by writing applications on a blockchain to lower agency costs, increase accuracy, reduce fraud, make an analog system even more effective, decentralized decision-making in a programmable aspect of it. I'm just eating up with that. I think that's the future. And so that's not, it's innovative. I wouldn't call it disruptive. It's like next step. You're going from VHS to streaming.
Hey, what's going on, Bull Runners? Welcome back to the channel. Ryan Huggins, aka Win with Ryan here. The crypto market is on the verge of a massive shift, but there's a catch. Delays, approvals, and big players like BlackRock are stirring the pot. And you need to know what's happening right now. Today, we're diving into the latest XRP ETF updates, BlackRock's game-changing tokenization plans, a historic drop in mortgage rates, and why a key politician says blockchain is the future. Plus, we will be heading over to X to find out all of the breaking news that's happening in the crypto world today. We're going to head over to Forex Factory and get the red folder news that you need to know about this week. Plus, we will be also checking on the biggest week that we've been waiting for next week with the federal funds rate. And we will also be jumping into the charts for XRP. We have massive news today. We did break back into bullish territory on our long-term indicator, and we did rise to the top side on our short-term and mid-term indicators. We will be taking a look at the most important levels of resistance and support that you need to know about right now, and so much more in today's video. So if you're like most people where you don't have the opportunity to spend hours a day doing crypto research like we do for you every day on this channel, make sure you subscribe right now. And if you are still feeling bullish about this current bull run, let me know by commenting 777 down below. First things first, let's head over to CoinMarketCap. We're going to check out the overall health of the crypto market. Positive, amazing news for us today. We did break that $4 trillion market cap total again. We do have $150 billion worth of trading volume in the last 24 hours. Fear and Greed Index is sitting in the neutral zone at 47. Altcoin season is taking the leap now, 65 out of 100. It's really altcoin season once we hit that 75 out of 100. That's the full-blown altcoin season. Will that happen this week? Stick around, subscribe, and we'll follow along. Bitcoin dominance continues to drop. Will we see a 56% Bitcoin dominance this weekend? As we can see, Bitcoin ETF starting to get some massive moves to the upside. $741 million worth of inflows to the Bitcoin ETF. When we take a look at the weekly tracker, we're finally seeing some real positive volume to the upside. $1.1 billion worth of inflows into the Bitcoin ETF this week. Ethereum not faring as well. As you can see, it's pretty choppy. There's no decisive direction. However, we are getting into positive inflows for this week, $131 million to the upside. Last week, $766 million to the downside. The week prior to that, $1 billion worth of inflows. So we are seeing some positive ETF inflows for both Ethereum and Bitcoin. And we do have some big news for XRP ETF news today. You can't miss this. Top 6 cryptos by total market cap. Number 1, Bitcoin, all the way up to 115,847 right now. Number 2, Ethereum, still chilling at that 4,400 level. Will we break 4,500 this week? XRP moving up. Number 3 at $3.04. Tether at number 4 at $1. BNB at $904, and Solana with a massive move to the upside this week. It is up 12%, 13%, literally just rose to the upside in the last 7 days while I was recording this, $229. And you may be wondering, well, what the heck is going on with the markets? Why are we seeing this surge? Well, this week we had really positive news on a couple of things. Number 1, producer price inflation actually came out less, which is very positive. We were forecasted at a 0.3% growth of inflation. It actually came out at 0.1 negative. Also, the core CPI, which is consumer price month over month, came in at a neutral zone, right? So it was forecasted at 0.3, came in at 0.3, which is fantastic. Now, basic CPI outside of core, so this includes everything with consumer price index, we did see a slight tick to the upside. We would have liked to see a negative number here. 0.3% was forecasted. It came in at 0.4%. So we are seeing, as a consumer, prices are going up in certain sectors of the market. When you look at the year over year inflation, though, we are still sitting at 2.9. So that is very positive. So back-to-back days, positive news for inflation gets the market excited about potentially going to risk off assets. Because if we do go into this next week, FOMC, the federal funds rate, we start to drop that then will continue to drop the 10-year yield, and more people are going to want to make more money, so they're going to go into risk on assets. Traditionally, that is what happens. Now, we also had a massive number. That was a negative news number, which is kind of to be expected over this last couple of weeks when the jobs numbers, all this correction, they fired the Bureau of Labor Statistics person. So we're kind of flushing out the garbage. We're getting positive news, not necessarily positive for the economy to the upside, but positive because it's real data. And this is what the Federal Reserve uses to actually make their decision. We'll come to find out they were not getting accurate data. That's why we're a year behind on these rate cuts that we're supposed to be getting. But we unfortunately did have massive move to the upside on unemployment claims. We were only supposed to have 235,000 total unemployment claims for the week. It came in pretty hot. 263,000 unemployment claims did come in. Jumping ahead to next week, like I said, we're going to have core retail sales numbers. If this number is also low, that'll show the economy. People are not out there spending, but that is to be expected right now. It's the end of the summer. People are going back to school. They're trying to tighten up the belt a little. We got the holiday season come. We'll keep paying attention to those. Fed funds rate, we know that's going to be the most important thing. And then Jerome Powell is going to come out and speak. Now, it is now forecasted at a 25 basis points reduction to 4.25 from the current 4.50. But there are whispers because the jobs report's so bad. There's also potential of this dropping all the way down to 4% or taking down a 50 basis point cut. And then also next Thursday, we'll have the next week's unemployment claim. So to dig a little deeper on this for you, if we head over to FedWatch and we take a look at what is the probability of the rate cuts coming for the September 2025, it is now a 92% chance that we do cut down to 4.25. There is now a potential cut, 7.3% potential that we cut all the way down to 4%. Now, that is only rate cut number one for 2025 at the end of the year. We also have the following month, October 29th's cut. We are going to see, or at least there's projected that rate cut will be coming in. So 25 basis points this next week. Then the following month, another 25 basis points. And then even into December, there's even another 25 basis points cut coming potentially. As you guys saw in the intro, Representative French Hill says that blockchain isn't disruptive tech. It's the natural next step. And this is what we've been talking about over at Altcoin Pro University. This is why you should know the actual fundamental knowledge of what blockchain is, not just you buy some coins and they go up, or sometimes they go down. Obviously, we've all been through bear markets now for the most part. So that's why I do recommend that you at least get your knowledge of the fundamentals. Altcoin Pro University, there's a link down in the description. If you click on the classroom section, you go to the first couple of classes: Crypto Foundations, Building Blocks of Web3, Ironclad Crypto Strategy, and Web3 Navigation. You could literally go through these 4 classes in the 14-day free trial and then cancel, and you'll be way more of a crypto expert than you are now. You are already a genius for being involved in crypto, but how much do you know about the actual baseline technology? Well, we can teach that to you in just 14 days. And next up, we have BlackRock CEO saying that $12 trillion will enter cryptos like blockchain and XRP, and that the new money isn't traditional, it's digital. And this comes as RealFi is set to unlock $228 trillion market, which is the real estate market, onto the XRP ledger, and it will burn 500,000 worth of real tokens. And this is huge because this could make the real token, which is going to be the real estate token on the XRP ledger, go from 3 cents to $989.
So hopefully for the meantime, we still have paper currency to use. We will be using, and they will implement the Ripple RLUSD. It is now an approved stablecoin. They will use the blockchain XRP. There's even chatter that XRP, as well as HBAR and maybe even XLM, could be part of strategic reserves
Wow.
where the United States will own blocks, maybe 1 billion or more chunks of those, knowing their vital nature to the infrastructure of the financial system as we go tokenization.
Michael Saylor acknowledges Fundstrat Tom Lee's call for a $200,000 Bitcoin by the end of this year. They're all north of 150,000. The more companies embrace it, the higher it goes. You can't make any more of it.
So we had Tom Lee on the broadcast. I don't know if you saw this earlier today. And he effectively said Bitcoin at $111,000 is headed to $200,000 effectively by Christmas. What do you think of that?
Well, most of the equity analysts that follow our stock have target prices for Bitcoin, and they're all north of 150. Bitcoin represents a digital transformation of the capital markets. And so the more people know about it, the more they get educated on it, the more companies embrace it, the higher it goes. You can't make any more of it.
Right. That may be all. But in terms of just what you're seeing in terms of flows and whatnot, that would get it to $200,000 by the end of the year.
Yeah, great flows from the ETFs. BlackRock is showing record numbers. Our companies raised $19 billion this year.
Right.
All of it went into Bitcoin. We just announced $217 million of Bitcoin purchases this morning before I walked onto this set here.
Wait, 217 million this
217 million, just slightly less than 2,000 Bitcoin. Our first buy, and we were the first public company to buy Bitcoin, we bought $250 million of Bitcoin, and that was like all the money we'd come up with in 30 years.
Yeah.
And this was just a short week, 4 days.
Okay, so can I ask you this? For those folks who are investing in MicroStrategy, or strategy, I should say, as opposed to Bitcoin, you are effectively a levered bet on Bitcoin. That's what this company has become.
That's
Fair?
correct.
Okay, so the question is, on the way up, it would be it's fabulous, right? Because everything becomes, multiplied. What happens on the way down?
Who cares about what happens on the way down? It's up only, right? No, just kidding. But really interesting. Michael Saylor kind of laid back and chill right now. Usually he's all hyper and doing his deep breathing. As you know, outside of the channel, I do real estate investing. So this is very positive news. The 30-year fixed mortgage rate records the biggest drop in a year. So as we were talking about with interest rates coming down, the federal funds rate, that doesn't actually affect directly the 30-year mortgage. What does directly affect it is the 10-year bond yield. So we're going to keep an eye on the bond yield, which is very important as well. But right now we are seeing a drop, and we have reached a super exciting level as far as mortgage rates, interest rates, but prices are still sky high. BlackRock to tokenize funds with real world assets and stock on the blockchain. And we do have some really positive news here. Kenny Nguyen with the great post, XRP spot ETFs update. This is what I've been trying to tell you guys all about. We've been waiting patiently. I know a lot of you guys know about this because you are a genius when it comes to crypto. And this is also why I give you guys the updates on the ETFs. I want to see you guys get hyped because right now it's the Bitcoin ETF and it's the Ethereum ETF. So XRP is coming. Solana is coming. A lot of other. So let's just take a look this week. Okay. This week, there's been $1.1 billion worth of inflows, ETFs into Bitcoin. Imagine what's going to happen to the XRP price when $1 billion worth of inflows comes in to the XRP ETF. Now you may be saying, oh, well, we'll never get $1 billion worth of inflows. Well, take a look at this. Ethereum just a couple of weeks ago had $1 billion worth of inflows. XRP can also get $1 billion worth of inflows. So unfortunately, we do have a little bit of bad news. On September 10th, we did find out Franklin Templeton's spot XRP ETF was delayed, and that's going to be delayed until November 14th. They may kick the can down the road again, but take a look at this one. Rex Osprey got approved without objection and will go live tomorrow, September 12th. The rest of the deadlines are 4+ weeks away. So let's take a look. Issuer, Grayscale. Theirs has been delayed until October 18th. 21 shares, October 19th. Bitwise, October 20th. Canary Capital, October 23rd. Wisdom Tree, October 24th. Franklin Templeton, October 25th. CoinShares, October 25th. So these all get approved at the end of October. So you're going into Halloween super stoked. October, November, December, a pump. What happened at the end of 2024? November, December, massive pump. So could we ultimately see a huge surge of liquidity into the crypto markets, driving that Bitcoin price to 200,000, driving that XRP price to $10? Let me know your price prediction down below. Where do you see XRP's price going once these ETFs are approved? More positive news as well, because DTCC lists Fidelity's Solana ETF, which is great positive news, and Canary's XRP ETF. So under that post, this guy here says, what the F does that mean for XRP? Well, this development could imply increased legitimacy and market stability for XRP, as suggested by the Bitcoinist.com analysis from September 10th, 2025, which notes that ETF approvals often lead to institutional buying and a structural floor price, supported by Polymarket data showing a 93% chance at the XRP ETF approval by the year end. And the great news is we're not talking about one ETF approval, we're talking about multiple. And speaking of ETFs, let's talk about the big giant elephant in the room. There was no mention of the BlackRock ETF yet, but that is a possibility coming for the future. BlackRock is exploring tokenized ETFs after Bitcoin fund success, as Wall Street giants tout tokenization as a game changer for finance. Bloomberg reported on Thursday that the company is considering tokenizing funds with exposure to real-world assets. Any such move, however, would need to navigate regulatory hurdles. Tokenizing these ETFs could potentially allow them to trade beyond standard market hours and be used as a collateral for decentralized finance applications. And as we take a look at this chart right here, there are now more ETFs than stocks. The black line is the number of United States listed stocks, companies, and the number of US listed ETFs is the gold line. BlackRock already manages the world's largest tokenized money market fund, which holds $2.2 billion in assets across Ethereum, Avalanche, Aptos, Polygon, and other blockchains. JP Morgan has called tokenization a significant leap for the $7 trillion money market fund industry, pointing to the initiative launched by Goldman Sachs and Bank of New York Mellon, which BlackRock will join at launch. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about billions and billions and trillions of dollars worth of inflows coming into the crypto market. The only question that we have now is not if, but when will these flows start to flow in? And if you remember back in May, we did talk about this, that the US banking lobby was especially wary of yield-bearing stablecoins amid concerns that they could disrupt traditional banking models. So all the talk about, oh, banks, we're not scared of crypto is BS. They are freaking losing their mind. They're actually having lobbyists trying to stop stablecoin legislation altogether, but that was actually passed. Notably, such tokens were excluded from the U.S. Genius Act, the first comprehensive legislation on stablecoin. In June, JP Morgan said tokenized money market funds will likely keep attracting capital to the industry while enhancing their appeal as collateral. This, she noted, could help preserve cash as an asset in the face of stablecoins' growing influence. All right, so let's take a look at the charts. XRP is surging up nicely. The new daily candle just kicked off. We have 23 hours left in that candle. As you can see, price did surge back up right near our resistance zone that we've been talking about now. This is based off of our 3-day chart resistance line that we talked about on the video just 2 days ago. We pointed out that this level right here is where our candle bodies could not break to the upside and ultimately failed. So when we look at this chart right here, we have this ultimate high, right? This is our highest high that we had, the new all-time high, $3.66. We had a pullback. We could not get a new higher high. So we ended up having a lower high. Price came back down again, tried to surge up, another lower high. Then it came back down again. Now we're surging up. This is a very important level that we must break and then break to the upside to these next previous higher high bodied candle close, $3.31. So we need to break above this one right here, which is at $3.07, continue our momentum to the upside and break 332. Now, as we've been talking about on our weekly charts, long-term momentum, very bullish. Short-term momentum has been having this slight pullback, but we may see an immediate turnaround back to the upside, a ricochet, a bounce off of this 75 level, and then continue the surge to the upside. Our 3-day chart has continued to remain bullish as well, above the red line here, right? We've remained green. And this was what I was most excited about here, guys. Take a look at this. If this momentum continues, which it looks like it's going to, our short-term and mid-term momentum have reset to zero. Our short-term momentum has now officially turned green and it is starting to head to the upside. If we finish this candle out 23 hours and 6 minutes to the upside without a reversal or rejection at this level, and we start to continue the push, we could see an absolute blast to the upside. Last time this happened and we reset at these levels, take a look. We reset at the 0, and our midterm momentum also reset as well. When everything was leveled out at 0, price was at $2.11. Short-term momentum started to make its turn to the upside, and boom, we made our new all-time high. We are looking very similar to this scenario right here as far as our momentum waves are concerned. Short-term is starting to turn up. We are already, last time we had to also break back above into bullish territory on the 3-day. We are already and maintaining and curling up on the 3-day long-term momentum line. Now let's look at the daily charts. We have finally broken back above the bullish bearish line. We are officially flashing green on that as well. So when we close this candle in 23 hours, 5 minutes in the green, this is going to continue its momentum to the upside. Let's take a look at what happened last time on our long-term momentum wave when it broke. So last time it was chilling in the red for 34 days. It finally broke to the upside. If we go right here and we take a look, boom, right? So this is where we actually broke up on the daily. It did have an actual break to the upside and a retest though. So we have broken, we haven't retested this level, or have we? Let's take a look. So we broke above the 30 exponential moving average, came back and retested that level. So it all depends on volume and momentum coming in. We do have some really serious positive news that's going on. So are we going to see a repeat of this scenario? Let's chart this out. This was a rise of 60%, 64% to the upside. We've just broken above today. Let's see where our 64% level is. 64%, 65-ish percent gets us up into that $4.89, which also coincides with our bullish flag pattern pulling out, which is actually a 56% move. And if you're not familiar with the bull flag pattern, we've been talking about it. So let's move this out of the way. This is our standard candles. That's our logarithmic one there. So let's take this off of logarithmic and let's go ahead and take this and move it to here. It's our standard candle chart pattern. This is our flagpole. This is the symmetrical triangle being the pennant or the flag. And then you put this at the breakout level. When you move this to the breakout, it gets us into $4.67. So if we take this breakout of percentage to the upside, it would essentially be a mirror image of that, getting to the full bullish flag pattern play out. So let's go ahead and clear the charts. The other thing I want to tell you guys about, obviously, if you've been watching, we do like to check in on the moon phases indicator. We had a full moon that just happened a couple of days ago. We're making the move to the upside. There was a full moon here. All of these types of momentum indicators along with the full moon indicator going off at the same time. Will we repeat? Possibly. But when is the next new moon? Because that is essentially where we topped out on this run to the upside. If we take a look, the next new moon is going to be September 21st, 2025. So here is September 21st. So that means 9 days. We have 9 days left in this new moon energy with positive bullish long-term momentum, and our short-term, mid-term momentum have capped to the top. Also, on top of that, we have now broken out of this trend line that was trending to the downside right here. We broke out to the one side and then ultimately failed. We rejected. We finally have actually broken out of this level. Now, there is a possibility that we come back and retest this and then go to the upside, but all the momentum indications I'm seeing are looking strong to the upside right now. We also, between now and the next new moon, where we could have a pullback, are going to experience next week. What happens next week? Federal funds rate. People are going to be wanting to go risk on, mean moving into stocks and cryptos. Now let's check in on our weekly spider lines. Let's get rid of the moon phases here. Let's switch back to logarithmic and let's take a look at what is potential for our spider line charts. Well, as we take a look here on our weekly spider lines, these are support and resistance lines that are from historical periods, the drop of 2018 with a pivot point in the high of 2021. You can see we've actually hit this as a support once, nearly twice, a third time here, and we are starting to move to the upside. The next level gets us back up to here to $3.55, then $3.97, and then $4.25.